In 1991, hikers in the Alps discovered a frozen body. He had been dead for 5,300 years. They called him Ötzi the Iceman. And when scientists examined him, they found something remarkable. Ötzi was wearing shoes. Shoes made of bearskin and deer hide, braided with linden tree bark. They were the oldest known shoes in the world. But here's the thing. Shoes are much older than Ötzi. Much, much older. Shoes have been around for at least 40,000 years. And they didn't just protect our feet, they changed our anatomy. They enabled long-distance travel. They shaped human evolution. Today, Nike sells billions of dollars of shoes every year. The average American owns 7 pairs of shoes. We spend over $90 billion on shoes annually. But the story of the shoe is also a story of exploitation, child labor, sweatshops, and millions of people who suffer to make the shoes we take for granted. This is the story of the shoe, the most important thing you wear. The first shoes were not made in factories, they were made in nature. 40,000 years ago, early humans wore sandals made from animal hides and plant fibers. They were simple, practical, and life-saving. But here's what's fascinating. Shoes changed our bodies. Before shoes, humans had wide, flexible feet with toes that could grip the ground. We had thick, calloused soles that could walk on rough terrain for miles. But shoes changed all that. We developed narrower feet. We lost our natural grip. Our arches became weaker. Shoes didn't just protect our feet. They reshaped human anatomy. And in ancient Egypt, shoes became something else entirely. They became a symbol of status. Egyptian pharaohs wore sandals made of gold and leather. Their sandals were decorated with jewels and precious metals. Only the richest people could afford them. The poor walked barefoot. Shoes had become a symbol of power. The Romans took shoes to a new level. They invented the caliga, a heavy-soled sandal with metal studs. It was the first combat boot. Roman soldiers wore them on long marches across Europe. They could walk 20 miles a day in these shoes. They conquered the known world on their feet. But the Romans also invented something else, the first shoe size. In ancient Rome, shoe sizes were based on the length of the foot. 1 inch was a barleycorn. A size 1 shoe was 1 barleycorn long. The system was simple, and it's still used today. The Roman army was the most powerful military force in the world, and they walked to victory in shoes. But after the fall of Rome, shoes became simpler and darker. In medieval Europe, shoes were called poulaines. They had long, pointed toes. The longer the toe, the richer the person. The wealthy wore shoes so long that they had to tie them to their knees with chains. It was ridiculous. It was impractical. And it showed exactly how much power shoes had. The Industrial Revolution changed shoes forever. In 1845, a man named Elias Howe invented the sewing machine. Suddenly, shoes could be made in factories. They could be made faster, cheaper, and in massive quantities. In 1892, a man named Jan Ernst Matzeliger invented the shoe-lasting machine. It could make 700 pairs of shoes a day. Before this, a skilled worker could make only 50 pairs a day. Shoes were no longer a luxury. They were for everyone. And then came the sneaker. In 1917, a company called Keds made the first canvas-top sneakers. They were called sneakers because they were quiet. You could sneak around in them. In 1924, a German man named Adolf Dassler started making shoes. He called his company Adidas. His brother Rudolf started another company, Puma. The sneaker was born, and soon it would conquer the world. In 1984, Nike signed a young basketball player named Michael Jordan. They designed a shoe for him, the Air Jordan. It was banned by the NBA. They said it was too colorful. That ban made the Air Jordan the most famous sneaker in history. People lined up for hours to buy them. They paid hundreds of dollars. They even killed for them. Today, the sneaker industry is worth over $100 billion. And the most expensive sneakers? They sell for over $1 million. Kanye West's Yeezys, Nike's Back to the Future shoes, the Air Jordan OG from 1985. Sneakers are no longer just shoes. They are status symbols. They are investments. They are art. But here's the dark side. Shoes have a dark side. And it's darker than you probably realize. Millions of shoes are made every year in sweatshops. Children, as young as 10 years old, work 14-hour days in dangerous conditions. They earn less than $2 a day. In Bangladesh, workers in shoe factories are exposed to toxic chemicals. They breathe in fumes. They develop respiratory diseases. They die young. In 2013, a factory in Bangladesh collapsed. Over 1,100 people died. They were making clothes and shoes. The companies knew. They knew about the sweatshops. They knew about the child labor. They knew about the dangerous conditions. And they did nothing. Because cheap shoes mean big profits. The average American pays $70 for a pair of sneakers, but the cost to make them, less than $10. The rest is profit, and that profit comes at a human cost. Shoes are not just shoes. They are the product of exploitation, of suffering, of lives that were lost for our comfort. The next time you put on your shoes, think about this. They started as animal hides on the feet of cavemen. They helped conquer the Roman Empire. They became symbols of wealth and power. They reshaped human anatomy. And today, they are made by children working in sweatshops. Shoes are not just shoes. They are history. They are power. They are exploitation. And they are everywhere. This is the archive, preserving the hidden histories of everyday things. If this story surprised you, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. How many pairs of shoes do you own? This is the archive. See you in the next one.